great chasm. Dear friends, Jesus shares the parable of the rich man and Lazarus in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 6, verses 19 to 31. It is a story about a rich man who was very insensitive and indifferent, and about a poor man who was lying close to rich man's gate. In the story, Jesus makes a reference to a great chasm which separates the rich man who is in hell and the poor man who is in the bosom of the father Abraham after their death. The chasm after death is a reflection or a deepening of the real chasm which existed before their death, during their lifetime. The chasm which existed before death could be termed as a chasm of insensitivity and utter selfishness, extending from the table of the rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen and who feasted sumptuously, to his gate where lay a poor, miserable man, Lazarus, hoping to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Death ultimately reveals lasting truths. Every time the rich man passed through his gate, he saw the miserable situation of Lazarus, but he showed no sense of compassion or concern for the poor man. The rich man was digging his own chasm. The chasm in the parable appears in the context of heaven and hell. We should realize that heaven, eternal life, etc., are not realities we meet after death. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is in your midst. It is here and now." Each time, in the here and now, we become indifferent or insensitive to our neighbor, we are digging our chasm. Each time we indulge in luxurious living, dress in costly attire, occupy dwellings worth crores, without a heart for the poor who are living in misery, then indeed we are deepening our chasm. Any separation on the basis of caste, creed, color, position is an act of deepening the chasm within us. We cannot silence the cry deep within us, for that drop of water which alone will quench the thirst, as we read in the Gospel, sent Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in this flame. The material realities have the power to make us numb to the spiritual thirst and hunger. While the rich man ended in hell, how did Lazarus reach the bosom of Abraham? It is not his sores and wounds that carried him there. Neither did he do anything very significant to get there. The name given to him in the story holds the secret. The name Lazarus has Greek roots. In Greek, it is El-Azar, which means God is my helper. Lazarus is not just a poor person, but a poor person who trusted in God. Poverty can make some people bitter and resentful, but Lazarus remained faithful and trusting in God. On which side of the chasm are we standing? What efforts can we make to level the chasm in the here and now, to bring heaven on earth? A lady was allowed to visit heaven and hell. On reaching heaven, the guide introduced her to the dining hall, a richly laden table with a magnificent variety of dishes. The people sitting on both sides of the table looked very happy and well fed. Then she was taken to hell. To her surprise, she found the same setting in the dining hall, just as in heaven. But the people who sat at table looked hungry and famished, sad and depressed. She turned to the guide in surprise. The guide told her, "There is a rule in heaven. They are allowed to eat only by using fork and spoon. But as you see, the cutleries are very long. So in heaven, they use the cutleries to feed the one sitting in front on the other side of the table. And they are all well fed. In hell, they are very selfish. They try to feed themselves, and since these cutleries are very long, they are unable and they remain hungry always and malnourished. This simple story explains the great chasm between heaven and hell. May God bless you.